Okay, I was wrong. So wrong. This laptop right here does everything right. And I mean everything. So first, let me just tell you that most reviews on YouTube will rave about this laptop because, you know, it's for people like me, people who do heavy tasks like video editing. So I'm going to try to share my experience as a content creator, but also for people who are more casual users. So I'm upgrading from the MacBook Pro 16-inch from 2019 with the Intel processor. And I've said previously many times that laptop is perfectly fine for video editing and pretty much for everything. And I stand by it. But comparing it to this beast, I was just floored, like completely knocked on my ass. But I really didn't need to upgrade. The reason I did is, well, you know what? I'm gonna explain that in the end of this video if you're still interested to know why. So I got the MacBook Pro 16-inch M1 Pro with 1 terabyte of storage and 16 gigabytes of RAM. And as you can see, I got the silver version. And to be completely honest, I do actually prefer the space gray, but it was out of stock. And I decided that maybe it's time for a change because I had the space gray on the Intel version. So why did I get the M1 Pro and not the M1 Max? Well, looking at the charts and comparisons, I didn't really think that the M1 Max was worth the extra money. Also, the Pro has a little bit of battery advantage to the M1 Max because the M1 Max, it does have extra cores and so it draws more power, which I found kind of interesting. Sure, you can get a bit quicker exports when making videos, but all in all, if you want better battery life, then this is the one to get. Okay, so first let's talk about the design. Now, I gotta be honest, when I first got this machine, I wasn't too excited about this sort of retro look, but I started using it, and while I still do prefer the slim design of 2019, I still think that this is function over design. So it's kind of thicker, which is good because it helps with cooling and stuff like that. And you get, you know, the MagSafe back and you get the card reader. So for productivity reasons, the thicker design is actually better. Now, the new keyboard is excellent. It's not too much different from the 2019 model, but it looks and it feels great. And I've been using it for some time, and I gotta say that this design has actually grown on me. And I sort of expected that this would happen, but this is a personal preference thing. Now, let's talk about performance. Performance, this is the best and most important part for me. It really speaks to sort of the inner geek within. So talking about performance while browsing the web and such, the M1 Pro handles everything incredibly well. There is a fast built-in SSD that's no slouch. It's about 5,800 megabytes per second. And editing videos is a breeze. Now, I wasn't too disappointed with the 2019 model, but it did get hot and the fans were incredibly loud. And in the summer, it wasn't a lot of fun to edit on the MacBook Pro 16-inch. But on this thing, like, I haven't even heard the fans kick in even once, and it's very cool. Like, it's not completely cold when you're editing videos. It gets a little warm here on the top, but it's negligible. Like, it doesn't really bother me at all. And that's probably the most impressive thing about the M chip family, and it's like the power efficiency. Now, I consider myself to be a bit of a heavy user, and what I mean is I do heavy tasks like video editing and such, and so for me, this machine is totally worth it. And I think that for the average user, I think this laptop is perhaps a little bit over the top extreme overkill. Now, I haven't tested any games on it, but I feel confident to say that if you are into gaming, get a PC and not a MacBook. Like, you definitely get more bang for the buck that way. This machine was not designed for gaming. Now, when it comes to battery life is much better than I expected it to be. Like, it's one thing to read it on paper, but when you actually get to play around with it for a while, it's actually quite amazing how good that battery life is. It really depends on what you're doing, but if I'm just browsing the web, I'm getting like something like 20 hours or so. Like, it's quite amazing actually. Now, the MacBook Pro 16-inch M1 Pro has the best battery life in a laptop ever, period. Nothing comes even close. Even when doing heavy tasks like video editing, the battery is like hardly drained. Like, the M chip is a bit of a miracle in terms of efficiency. And I do like that you get a 140 watt power brick that lets you fast charge this machine. You can get something like 50% in 30 minutes. And that's incredibly impressive. Now, if we want to talk about the screen, which keeps dying on me here, the refresh rate is 120 frames per second. It's an HDR monitor. It's the whole XDR thing. So it gets very bright. The colors are very accurate. It's not OLED, but compared to the old MacBook Pro, I think that the blacks look very great. And the bezels sort of disappear. Now you do have this little notch on top here, and I'm not a huge fan of it. It seems completely pointless, but the good news is that most of the time you don't even notice it when you're editing videos or browsing the web. It just becomes this thick frame here, so it's not a problem. Now, speaking about the notch and the webcam in here, it's a 1080p webcam. Obviously, it's not DSLR quality, but it's really good actually. And I made a video where I show you the quality of it, and it's really good. Combined with the microphones inside, this could be a good vlogging machine for sure. So when it comes to the ports, it has greatly improved for the most part. So finally, there is no need for dongles because you got your card reader here and you got an HDMI port. Love that. You got 3 Thunderbolt USB-Cs. Now, I did have 4 on the 2019 model, but I wasn't actually ever using 4, so 3 is perfectly enough. And then you get the magnetic cable, which is back because it was missing on a 2019 model, and I actually missed it because on previous MacBook models, it was always the case that you had that MagSafe. So I'm really happy that's back. You know, you don't want to accidentally trip over a USB cable and damage the entire computer. So let's talk about like overall verdict. This is my 3rd MacBook, and I've always been very pleased with the MacBooks in the past. Now, I love the 2019 model, but it did have that touch bar, which I hated. And they finally removed the touch bar, so I'm very happy that the function buttons are back. And you get the card reader back, which is fantastic. So this is a slam dunk product. It is, however, quite expensive. And I think that for most people who want to get the most bang for the buck, I think a 13-inch MacBook Pro with the M1 chip, or even the 14-inch MacBook Air, is very good pricing indeed. Like, you get a lot of bang for the buck. But if you have something like $2,500 lying around, or if you really want a big 16-inch display, then this is it. This is really it. So finally, why did I get it? I made a video recently where I said that I wasn't gonna upgrade to a newer MacBook, and it wasn't necessary because the 2019 model was just good enough. But here's the thing, this is actually a business expense for my hobby, and in a way I had to spend money in order not to tax. So this is a profitless business when I'm making content, for YouTube, for Amazon. And when I release videos and I make money off of it, I pretty much just put it back into my equipment. So I had money to invest in new equipment, so I got the MacBook Pro 16-inch. It was the only thing that I actually considered buying. So I'm very pleased with my camera gear. I don't need to upgrade that, but yeah. But there is also another reason. A few weeks ago, I thought about it. I was sort of imagining, if I was a billionaire, what smartphone would I get? What laptop would I get? And when it comes to smartphones, I would get the one that I have now, the iPhone 14 Pro, which is a great smartphone. And as far as computers go, this is it. Like, this is the computer I would actually get. So there is no denying that this is a fantastic product from Apple. They really listen to what people wanted, or at least the pro people who use MacBooks for professional work. And so I think that this is a fantastic product, and I highly recommend it. Okay, hope you enjoyed this little review, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care. Bye.